Yes, indeed. Of course, pleasant good morning to all and sundry. By the very music itself, you would know that, of course, the issue is money worries. Is Trinidad and Tobago a money, should I say, poor, a money limited, a money deprived, a money dislodged, if you want to call it that as well, a society? In other words, I am trying to, of course, find adjectives to describe the disappearance of a tremendous amount of resources that Trinidad and Tobago ought to have. Of course, before I do all of that, let me welcome you to, of course, the Sunday edition of the Corridor Transformation. Your host, Dr. Khalid, and of course, yours truly, Lennox Smith. Let me say to you as well that the present circumstances of Trinidad and Tobago is one that goes beyond that of concern. One should have a deep appreciation and understanding of what the realities are in Trinidad and Tobago today. And all indicators are that it is not good, it is not nice, it is not salubrious, it is not befitting where Trinidad and Tobago ought to be at this point in time. So let us not fool ourselves. And of course, our Sunday broadcast is designed to make certain that the reality of Trinidad and Tobago continues, even though we are solution-oriented. And that is where we would want to go on a Sunday morning. Don't forget, of course, tonight we continue with the solid and hardcore, and we'll have some adjustments to make, programming adjustments, because for the overall, of course, benefit as far as the progenitor or the originator or the founder of this very, what I consider to be significant in Trinidad and Tobago at this point in time, information, should I say, saturated, but nonetheless sharing so that we understand the circumstances of Trinidad and Tobago much better. But I want to say that are we in a situation where cash is scarce? Is it that the government at minimum has a cash flow problem? Is it that we have not been able to invest in such a way so as to meet our minimum and, of course, something to put away for the rainy day? Maybe some may say all of the above. But I want you to, of course, note that salaries are in a tardy way being paid, public salaries, public services, and those who engage the state to provide services from the private sector are not being paid according to the schedule or the schedule that would have been agreed upon. And of course, whether you want to call them make work programs or you want to call it a social welfare delivery initiatives, whether it be CPEP, URP, and others, whether it be stipend as far as YTEP is concerned, and of course, the program that government over the years have implemented on the job training, or whether it be delivery from as far as the pensioners are concerned, people with, of course, that are differently able, those persons who cannot, of course, fend for themselves because of physical and mental disabilities. Why are they so regularly not getting their established due as agreed upon and has been established by tradition and by administrative execution in recent times? Why? We're going to explore that and, of course, look at the whole question of the fact that in 2015, the government of the day would have benefited from, would have acquired, would have inherited over 5 billion in the Heritage and Celebration Fund, over 10 billion in reserves, and an economy, a private sector, if you want to call it that, where over $5 billion would have been in what is called excess liquidity in the banks of the country, whether it be partially or wholly public owned or privately owned. We're going to look at that as well tonight. Well, not tonight, but today, this morning. But tonight, of course, we'll continue on the corridor transformation to look at that. But before we go there, maybe an appropriate piece of music will, of course, set the tone.
To be a millionaire or some kind of petty bourgeoisie anytime you live in here in this country. You got to be a skullduggery, making you money illicitly to live like somebody in this country. It's outrageous and insane.
Is this true or not? Is it that we have to be able to know someone in order, of course, to survive in this country? Well, it is, the evidence is increasingly, of course, in favor of that particular despicable condition, where it's not meritocracy, but it is about, of course, who you know. That is dangerous.
At last, here in Trinidad, we see capitalism gone mad. It's sad. Because to do capitalism gone mad. To provide for your family today on your present salary is an impossibility in this country. So many bills to pay, there is no conceivable way to save for a rainy day in this country. Avariciousness, to be precise, is why every damn thing so overpriced. Big business making everybody feel government give them an open license to steal.
Let's pause there. Government give them an open license to steal. I suppose it could only be the privileged and those who are engaged in what we usually would call nepotism, cronyism, and of course the ability to not only access those who have the authority consequential of elections and government. The camera is here. Dr. Khalid, camera is here. Yes. Yes. So let us be real, and let us not, of course, fool ourselves, and let us get down, of course, to the issues of the day. That being as it may, of course, as you know, Dr. Khalid will join me every Sunday, preferably. Sometimes, of course, we are a bit unable to meet that commitment, but by and large, we are committed to national development, community development, family development, and of course, individual development. That being as may, let me introduce, of course, Dr. Khalid immediately. Maybe you could come a little forward, Dr. Khalid, closer to the mic, so to speak, and maybe, yeah, right, good. Right. And, well, of course, good morning to you, and welcome once again. Tell us.
It's always a pleasure, Lennox.
It's always a pleasure. Yes. Yes, indeed. Well, of course, I normally like to start by asking you how has been your weekend so far, and I know you will tell me something of a national and community nature. And that's why, of course, I feel committed to always ask that question, because you're going to give us something new, and you're going to give us the latest development that is taken, that you, in your view, is taking place.
Yeah, well, what it is that we are for development.
Yes.
Right? So, yes, you might have little thing here or there, but the main thing is that the center, we going all right.
Oh, all right, you could.
We're going all right, and we have our classes and things like that. We're now considering bringing in other programs, because not every young man and woman into academics. So we want to have like trade and training and considering sports, a whole mixture.
Whole mix, yes. All right. Well, that you couldn't ask for anything more or less, especially from individual perspective, because I want to, in terms of the aspect of solutions, I want to get into the personal commitment, the kind of character, and character here means people's sense of right and wrong and commitment and so on, and personality, of course, so how people perceive you, whether you're a hostile individual, whether you are rambunctious, obnoxious, rapscallion, all of those are part and parcel of the mix as far as the personality is concerned. But I thought we should be able to tell people that whilst we accept that all persons are not cut out to be as altruistic and as humanistic as in terms of projecting their ability to improve the quality of life and standard of living. But whilst all people are not so, but all people are invariably want to receive a good quality of life and standard of living. Would you agree with that?
100%.
100%, right. So it is against that background, but before we go there, I know that you may want to have your own introduction in terms of what you want to discuss this morning. So maybe we can start there, and then, of course, we could go into what it takes.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So what it takes for somebody to, he or she may be comfortable on her own, not having to interfere or to focus on the concerns of what happening is out there on the streets, whether it's youth delinquency, whether children not performing well in school, or whether, of course, parents are not taking on their responsibilities as they ought to, whether there are people who are living in squalor and, of course, inhospitable conditions that in itself affecting, of course, family life, the role of the government, and whether or not it is sufficiently efficacious, or whether or not it is simply delinquent, or whether or not it really doesn't care, and therefore, of course, the resources that are reposed with the state are not being used to facilitate and to ameliorate and to improve the circumstances of the country. So it's a wide range of issues that such persons take on, even without the cloak or the, should I say, the approbation or the support of the state. Right. What it takes for such an individual, firstly, to make that decision, and then, of course, consistently demonstrate, as you have been doing in your own community, of course, having regard to all of the variables, all of the shenanigans, all of the opposition, all of the lack of support, and, of course, there must be some kind of support as well, but I want to focus on the lack of support, because it takes such a strong person in order to achieve those personal objectives, because it has to be personal.
Right. Well, okay. With me, it take growing up in a strong family.
Okay.
A big family of people care and think in a certain way.
Okay.
You know, my father was like close to white. I used to call him half a white man.
Half a white. All right, yeah.
And it used to piss him off. But he was a black nationalist mentally.
Okay, mentally. Okay.
And it take a condition where
Yes, of course, as we always say, don't mind the telephone and so on. We have a full, we have a commitment outside of this program, so therefore we normally would keep in the picture.
I good, Margot.
Yeah,
All right.
So sometimes we have calls right here. We have to work at the same time whilst we are, of course, bringing these. So we like to keep it live and real. So don't be surprised if I get a call and have to talk on the phone.
I will
during the course of the
call you
broadcast.
back on a program now, but I'll call you back in about half an hour time. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, we see this as a work in progress, and therefore our work is never done. People will access us. In fact, before I came here this morning, I had a conversation with several persons, and after the program, I have to go and meet them, and it will take me as far as Brazil, in the east, or in the east central, if you want to call it that, of Trinidad, in order to look at some lands that, of course, a senior citizen wants to, of course, leave for his children, and he wants me to, of course, be a witness in the whole process. So there we have it. Of course, Dr. Khalid, he just got a call, for example, before we came here. We saw, people of, let's say, similar age, alignment, and last night, of course, they had a very, what I consider to be, sociable event, or a social event, where the community came together, etc. And then he has to be here this morning. The point I'm making is lay the foundation for the limitless and diverse amount of work that such a person who has taken on the role of the responsibility of doing what maybe state agencies should be doing at the task, even though without the support, as I say, or the cloak of the resources that the state would have had, whose responsibility it would have been to treat with this matter. Dr. Khalid, you could continue now that that you're off the phone.
Just get bad news.
You got a bad news?
Yeah,
Wow.
my boy Romo dead.
Romo?
Barrow. Romo Barrow.
Oh, Barrow. Oh,
That's the one who helped me build the community center, man.
Oh, I see.
That's the engineer when people didn't want to come.
Yeah.
He come and he work for less.
All right. Okay.
Wife
okay.
now called.
All right. So people, there you have it. You have the good, the bad, and the indifferent, and of course, and you have to be a strong person, Dr. Khalid, to really absorb that. And I mean, and in the context that we are all human beings, have emotions.
Yeah.
Some may be expressed in ways that others may feel differently about, and in the same circumstance may express their emotions differently.
Yeah.
But the fact about it is that we are human beings, and therefore, well, of course, let us convey our condolences one time to, of course, the bereaved family of a member of the community.
The Barrow family. Actually, he's from Caranage.
Caranage, I see.
Barrow, but he's another down-to-earth guy, just like my pops.
Right.
You know, he grew up a certain way, went England, London University, study engineering and things.
Right.
And he come back and he commit himself to developing his area.
Right.
You know, along that line. You know, it have a group of us who were fortunate enough to get a good education, but we, like you, dedicate ourselves to develop our surrounding because we are not satisfied and comfortable with us alone. See, that's the thing in this country, us alone.
Yes.
I have this, and I and my children live happy, and everybody else suffer.
To hell with the rest.
To hell with the rest.
In essence, because that is a statement that one could glean, one could conclude from, of course, the persons who would have gotten the opportunity, more than those who would have made the commitment, and not, of course, fulfilling that role that is expected of them. And we will have to extend the argument or the discussion to the kind of chaos that, and chaos in the context that either you want to call it discrimination or inequitable distribution because you want more than your fair share, and you, in other words, depriving others of that which they ought rightly to get, but in your possession, and you refuse, of course, to do what is required.
No, you're correct. You're correct. And you know, you and I make that whole connection to government.
Yes.
You know, I was listening to you just now when you was talking about the problem in Trinidad is not caused by a lack of funds.
That's right.
The problem in Trinidad is caused by a lack of caring.
That's
Am I
right.
correct?
That's right.
All right. Because we have people in office who not really into the people.
Right.
What they know is that when it's time for election, they could use the people and they will give them a little thing and make promises to pass through the army and give this and that. And they know very well that money is not touching the ground.
Wait, or two.
Yes. So we need people who will come up with programs that the average man and woman and little boy and girl will be able to get a better life, and therefore the society will head in the right direction. Because I can remember a time growing up as a Trinidadian, and I used to be proud because the whole Caribbean wanted us to lead them.
That's right.
The Caribbean right now not interested in that. They laughing at us. They say, we look at all you have this and that and all that. You think what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that is where the change have to come. And sometimes people angry when you talk about a change of government.
Yes.
But it have to go there, Lennox.
Yes.
It have to go to people who's caring. It has nothing to do with no texture, hair, and color skin, you know. It has to do with caring. If I'm making sense, tell me.
Of course you are. I always do. I will never challenge whether what you have to say makes sense or not. There's always, of course, and in fact, it appeals or applies to common sense as well.
Yeah.
Because I've often said that it appears that those who are in office and have the responsibility of nurturing and carrying the burden of state responsibility, they seem to be lacking, of course, common sense.
Yeah.
Because common sense will tell you that you cannot take all for yourself, or all for yourself here doesn't mean personally. It also means family, friends, acquaintances, and party hacks, etc. And who you prefer and rather, as opposed, of course, to qualified, distinguished, but more importantly, persons who really are in need, whether abject or otherwise, or being part of the middle or should I say, I don't like to say lower class, but certainly the working class in the society. So it will be right. It will be right for you to make, of course, those statements and or descriptions based on your attempt to distinguish and to share with the population, of course, the notion that you have as to how to carry the country forward. So if people who are in authority fail to deliver, then we need to say that. They themselves don't like us to say it because they believe that either naively, or should I say specifically or intentionally, they know they are doing wrong, but want you, of course, to take that wrong and say that they are doing right. We cannot do that. I want to hear your views on it.
No, but you're correct. You're correct. Right now, there always come, let me put it this way, there always come a time when you have to call a spade and stop playing games.
Right.
Don't call a spade a fork.
Good.
A spade is not a fork. A spade is not a spoon.
Right.
If you call it a shovel, okay, it's another fork. But a spade is a spade.
Right.
And that.
Right, okay, let's go straight line. President. Yeah. President, morning. Welcome to the morning program of the Corridor Transformation.
Yes, Lennox, President, good morning to you and your guests this morning.
Yes.
Morning.
Well, I taking in your program here this morning, where they're talking about development and stuff.
Yes.
And I going back in my memory and I say, but wait, I really can understand who it is these people and vote for to run this country. The MP for Point Fortin, and this is something that is always stressed on. When this guy was mayor, he came in our community center in 2020 and they was talking about the development at Point Fortin, what they want to do and this and that. And when the time comes out, I ask if anybody have any question or concern about how it is to be able to develop the area. So when my turn comes, I raise up my hand, I say, hey, what's going on, Mr. Mayor? I say, I have something on my chest and I need to get off my chest. I say, here, what's going on? I say, over 50 years ago, Point Fortin had 3 cinemas. I say, we in 2020, we don't have 1 cinema. I say, but anyhow, I say, that spot will only allocate to build the fire station. I say, 5 years before that, I've been going to the corporation to find out how it is the board could be able to acquire that place and get the same investors and then build the C3 mall in San Fernando, where they could establish a C1 mall, a mini mall / cinema. I say, when you have that kind of development in Point, you will cater for people for all the Carcass, Seagus, Santa Flora, and surrounding areas in Point Fortin. They go able to bring jobs and whatnot. Right? This man turned around and I Kennedy talk about Kennedy Jr. This man turned around and tell me, but that is a great idea. But if they build something like that in Point Fortin, people will leave and go. I tell them, I tell them, I say, but it's always the problem. All they do what development in Point all over the place. San Fernando, Shogunas, Debe, Pinal, these places and them developing. Point Fortin is a stronghold PNM from since day one. And when you're going through Point, it's like a total cemetery. The places are a ghost town. Jack Warner wants to build a stadium in Point Fortin when the people partnership was and the people and them run Jack Warner. Point people don't know what the hell they want. That is why I will always sit down and tell them, I say, Eric, will them come and say, Children should be because a jackass Point Fortin will be the pattern in the jail. They can't see beyond the hand. And then it have people wanting to defend why it is they can't develop Point Fortin because people will still leave and go say there's something wrong with these people and them. Lennox not gonna listen.
Yeah, yes, indeed. That caller seems to be extremely angry, boy. But does it make sense that here it is? You have things like, as the caller recommended or suggested to the based on what he has said, the then mayor, a complex where, of course, the cinemas would be included, because right now they have to go where quite San Fernando, I believe, in order to enjoy. Granted, of course, they have a highway that will shorten the time on the road, but nonetheless, it's a physical distance. And then, of course, as you rightly said, you have Carcass, farther afield, and then, of course, you have other parts of Faizabad, etc., that probably could go there rather than having to go to San Fernando, which would shorten the distance, particularly now with a better highway facility, if you want to call it that. So, is it that an inability to be visionary? What's the saying there? What's your view?
Okay, my perspective is it's not caring and taking us for granted. In fact, listening what the young man was saying there from Point. It sounds just like Mova.
Sounds like Mova.
Yes, because it's the same mentality among people of African descent. PNM, as far as they are concerned, that is the end all and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
You want PNM. Let me just give you an experience. When PNM failed to give us road and thing by us, right? They were in office from 56, and then here come 86 and they lose 30 years, right? We were able, I was a pretty young man at the time, 34, we were able to cut the road. Carson, well, you know, Carson was around 30, 31 when he became the youngest minister.
Yes.
So we took a young people perspective and we said that, you know, we in our time with these older ones who settled with things once.
Mm-hmm.
And few Francis came in that same area and said they cannot cut no road there because it's a riverbed and all.
Right.
Carson being a very good engineer, and I had just finished a course from UE Extramural, which teaching us in fact, the first semester, they were talking about showing us how to divert a river and create a road.
Right.
You understand? So you have your road here, you have the river still, you put it at the side, and you could create your road.
Right.
So we use that, and together with Carson experience, and the same Barrow who just died, right? We decided, well, okay, we will do that.
Okay.
We'll create that. Now, it did happen, right? So it did happen. But a lot of these people, after they cut the road, we cut the road, 3 months after they invite me to a meeting, to abuse me up and say, yes, you give us the road, but you ain't pave it. 3 months after, you know, after waiting for 30 years.
Right.
So I'm showing you is a mentality they have that you could go and give them whatever. Once PNM ain't do it, they don't appreciate it.
I see.
So this is why you have to, I don't want to say ignore them, but you have to create like minds. You understand what I said? Get people who thinking like us, come together and do what we have to do. Because if you were to take on these people who not thinking about their own children's future, the place will get worse.
The place will get worse. Well, people, of course, the line is open at 337-6940, 337-6940. And, of course, we invite your calls and your own comments because, I mean, we are looking at solutions usually on a Sunday morning with the expert and the eruditic mind of Dr. Khalid here, who will, of course, give us some insight as to some of the developmental imperatives, the initiatives that is required in order to, of course, advance. And, of course, what is required does not necessarily mean that the present circumstance of those who are supposed to make the decision are capable of so doing, because that would be defeating the purpose if we know that is a bunch of delinquents, a bunch of what I consider to be incompetent individuals at the helm of our affairs, unappreciative of the imperative which we discuss here, but is right in front of their noses, so to speak, and at the same time, with the resources in the banks or the central bank, as the case may be, and of course, other components that make up material and psychological requirements in order to advance our country as a society, and that has not come, then it means that therefore there is a fundamental disconnect between the resources that are available to treat with the 1.5 million people in the country and ameliorate their circumstance, and to avoid, of course, the question that all of us have on our minds today: crime, the economy, the competence of the government in terms of its interference in institutions that are constitutionally protected. We have seen, of course, the latest of them is that of the Auditor General and the interference thereof. So we are very, very conscious of our role and responsibility. But Dr. Khalid, I think I've said sufficient to lay the foundation. Any additional information you would want to give us? But don't forget that the lines are open. The line is open, 337-6940, 337-6940.
Well,
Call us now. Yeah.
well, Lennox, the thing is, people must understand that we have the opportunity in Trinidad where we can change government without any violence, which is wonderful.
Right.
So our duty right now is to educate the people.
Right.
And, you know, I think I told you this already. When I was growing up with my father, my old man was very philosophical. So whenever I do some kind of stupidness, or if I tell him a untruth, and he punished me, he used to say, speak the truth, cost it what it will. For he who had the wrong he did, he does the wrong thing still.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Very
right.
philosophical, yeah. But real.
Yes.
Let's see if we can get it here. Let's see. Yes. All right, let's take it on the device. We take it on the handheld device. Pleasant, good morning. Welcome.
Morning, Lennox.
Good morning.
Report here, boy.
Yes, indeed. I'm here with Dr. Khalid.
Yes, and morning to Mr. Khalid.
Yes.
Dr. Khalid. Lennox, I want to ask you some hard question. I don't know if you could answer it. Does politicians have to lie and make promise that they cannot fulfill?
My personal view, no. But that is a phenomenon. The question you referring to, and the, should I say, the practical experiences of the country, is a phenomenon. Because as human beings and as persons who have been cultured, we know we must not lie, we know we must not deceive, we know we must not get inadvertent gains, but somehow that appeared to have been reversed. I cannot pinpoint exactly when or if it was time memorial. I'm reading, of course, some of the very well considered ancient scriptures, but I should say documentation, the Roman times, etc., and the Greek and so on, to find out. It appears that there are certain what I consider to be evil that existed from time immemorial, and we must conclude, by people who wanted to get power, but really actually are either unprepared or are total and absolute criminal, and when they get there, they of course utilize the power that they would have acquired at the offices to engage, of course, in criminal enterprise. That is why I came up with, of course, the PNM being a criminal enterprise. Dr. Rowley himself, of course, the chief architect and the perpetrator. But that's my view. It may not be that of Dr. Collins.
Well, you know what happened? The PNM don't have no view. They don't know. They have no management skill. They does not know how to control money. Like when they see money, they get mad, they get wise. And like they grabbing a barrel, they'll grab it. And the people that vote for them, they don't care about those people. So how they go vote for, how they go care what people who vote against them like me. And the next thing, why is this politician, after election, the only people they care about is a few people around them. And the people that they went all in the bush, in the track, and they can look for, they just forget them. Because I was in a meeting recently, and only the people who close by talking about this man good. And I was the only one in the room who couldn't say anything good about this man. So I keep my mouth shut because the meeting was a mash up.
Right.
Because you know me, when I open my mouth, whatever come out, just come out.
Yes, I do that.
So I can't understand why these people so begging everybody to vote for you. But when you get into power, you're only voting for your friends you know. That's it, that is not how things is. All of us people, and without we, You is not a MP, you is not a councillor, you is not a prime minister, you is nothing. It's we have to make sure that. So I don't know why you can't remember that. The only time you remember that is when the election come next time. So I don't know what to say. And you know when I talk my talk, everybody wants to put themselves in control. So I think, and I'm telling you now, it's a report and corridor transmission was good to me, but I feel I would have to keep away because I have enough enemy. It's just, it's either they can't understand, the reason or they can't understand, and the hearing, and they're not listening. As I always say, the wrong thing is the wrong thing, and the wrong thing can be right, and the right thing can be wrong. And everybody, whenever it comes to politics, everybody should be more or less equal. Because the few people that support you as for your campaigning, them alone cannot make you win.
That's right. So
It's poor people like me and my villagers don't vote for you. You may not win. You know, I have my thoughts about everything, and I'm not changing because somebody tell me I talk about the $26,000 that go be spent in Malaysia, and nobody know what she spent it on. You know, when somebody tell me, like small things, big things is same piece. Because I say small things will get big one day. Right? And I'm looking for that clip that Modilal put up, but I don't know if Facebook remove it. But I will tell Facebook, you know, they're racial. The fella blocked me for saying thing about the PNM. I always ask him if I show I want to post up that. I tell them that they PNM, they're racial. Because there are people I know that be cussing, come back, stink, but she's more than all kind of things. I know that them people still on Facebook ramping and raving all over the place. That MP, that boy I keep looking for that people to send it for you. The MP from Sandy Grandi. This is how much money he pay out. Like it is ghost gang he pay money to. Right? So you know, these are the things that cripple the country, and these are the things that suffering people like we, because what's supposed to come for we, going to special people. And the special people we do, they don't need nothing, you know, they can afford to come out. And the next thing, Lennox, I don't make you notice.
good.
You know what I'm not hearing? I'm not hearing Mr. Barataria. Because he is always called a while ago and talk about Mahmoud, which is SIS. Mahmoud is and Mahmoud that. Now I'm not hearing about no Mahmoud. He have him Mahmoud. First I come in here talking about that. But from 2010 to 2015, you see Mahmoud SIS truck all over the country. Big truck, small truck, load up with all kind of things. Saying for poor people, after 2015, you don't see that again. And them fellas forget all these things, you know. And someone needs to be collecting too. And I could talk, you know, because my children and them used to be driving them trucks. And we all about and they say they're not refusing nobody. Indian, African, white, Chinese, anybody come, give them something. And that's how Mr. Mapasa Dissessa used to operate. Not like these. Well, look at me and say nothing. I go on, Lennox, I go on.
I hear you, my friend. I hear you. Those things that will affect us here on the corridor. So I'm glad that you have taken that into consideration allow good sense to prevail. But I think the caller made a very salient point, so that where are these persons who at one time relied on the ordinary Joe to have them where they are? And I suspect that he was talking primarily on this occasion about, of course, opposition, but clearly government officials are certainly guilty of that as well. And of course, well, to be fair to him, he did say that Foster Cummings, should I say, evil. He has thrown a blind eye to, or nothing is being said. But do you think that the guy you talked about, Corporal, a fellow that I've had a number of encounters with, and he's right, he's upset these days. I don't think it's because things are nice with him, and otherwise he would be talking more. Right? If he's sharing in the ill-gotten spoils, he will be talking more because he has to defend the indefensible. But certainly, the fact that he's not speaking, that he too may be realizing what others are realizing, like Roche and the doctor, the lecturer for
Lennox.
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry about that. I was trying to
Check your audio, Lennox. You're coming across the Darth Vader.
Oh my goodness. All right, Dax.
Yeah, check your audio. You're coming across the Darth Vader.
Okay. All right, let me just do that. No, but so just enough for us for cause.
You got to be a millionaire or some kind of petty bourgeoisie anytime you're living here in this country. You got to be in skullduggery, making you money illicitly to live like somebody in this country. It's outrageous and insane, them crazy prices in Port of Spain, and like the merchants going out their brain, and the working man like the only toiling in vain. Where you ever hear a television for 7,000, $250,000 for live piece of land, a pair of sneakers, $200, 80,000-90,000 for motor cars. At last, here in Trinidad, we see capitalism.
Let's see if that has been corrected.
It's sad and getting more bad because due capitalism gone mad.
Well, I trust that we have corrected that. I'm listening on the monitor as well to see when it is corrected. I know there's a delay system, so while I'm speaking to you, we will reach it again because you have to go through, of course, the system.
To provide for your family today on your present salary.
But
is an
I have
impossibility
confidence in
this country.
the system.
So many bills to pay. There is no
I have confidence in the system, so let's resume the discussion.
in this country. Avariciousness.
Oh, we are listening to ourselves. We're really talking like robots.
Bad.
Yeah. All right, let's see. And tell me, I'm observing, of course, blurred video as well. I wonder. I didn't expect that at all, so I don't know if there's an issue that we have to further address. Oh, that's since the caller was speaking.
All right, maybe we might have to shut it.
Yes, no, not yet. Let's see. Let's that conclude. Wow, they had us on a long time before they brought our attention. All right.
Anything I make out there?
Yeah. Let's see. Let me play some music in the background in the meantime until we finish, until we get
To be precise is why every damn thing so overpriced. Big business making everybody feel. Government give them a open license to steal. Would you believe me? One nylon panty is $19.90. $20 for some baby milk. The cheapest jersey costs over 60. 200 and change a yard for silk. Capitalism gone mad.
tell me, has it adjusted? Has it been adjusted?
Yeah. You're sounding good and you're looking good now.
Okay, all right, good. Thanks. Right.
Gone mad.
All right, so no need for me to wait until the delay as the studio. All right, so
This is for
so we were talking. Let me just make sure and take off that music. Yes, capitalism has gone mad indeed in Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, you need to know somebody in order to get a favor done. And across the board, whether it be a job or whether it be even, of course, the ability to eat and to put food on the table, that too. But go ahead, Dr. Khalid, you were
But the
speaking.
thing is, back to my father again. My father used to say, whenever we have a problem, say, okay, I have a problem. What you will do about it?
Yeah,
Problem, from his perspective, was there to be solved.
right,
Painful, yes or no? You have to come up with a solution.
right.
Now we have a political problem in this trend, in this country.
In this country, right, okay.
This political problem is you have two strong parties.
Right,
One, because of the way the seats
right,
is created in the East-West corridor,
right,
that if you don't do good, regardless how good you do in the opposition area, if you don't do good in the East-West corridor, that means you go back to the opposition.
yeah,
So then what is the solution? The solution is, and you know where I'm coming from, those of us who are not supporters of the PNM must, if we're interested in saving Trinidad and Tobago, must take, hold on.
no, you get it. This is
a
the
fake thing.
yeah.
Right. Must take our political support and support the UNC.
Right.
That's a reality.
Right,
So this is what we need to do. We need to, all those of us who are not supporting the PNM, we need to have a conversation among ourselves. Because once we can do that, then we're going to create either 86 or 2010. And that's it. Of course, you have solution. Of course, you have problems. The problems is when people get power, people have a way is get, so we have to find a way to solve that. And as I was telling you, coming down in the car, we need to have a team that when all these problems come up, we will solve it.
yeah.
We'll come together, right? But the fact is, it cannot continue like that. When you look at Trinidad, crime gone mad. Sparrow talking about capitalism gone mad, but crime also gone mad. Policing gone mad. Everything in this country gone mad. Misappropriation of funds. And whenever you point it out, right now they want to punish this poor Auditor General for talking. Is a female, right?
Yes, a female.
For
yes.
talking her mind. She not supposed to say here what you cannot account for how much it is, how many billion?
3 billion, and ultimately, even though some of it was reconciled, they still have an outstanding 700 million.
All right. So you cannot account for 700 million. And
Flat. You
Flat.
can't. Yeah.
that not only better money?
No, of course, it's,
Right.
it's 300 million short of a billion.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So you cannot talk your mind. You have a job to do, and you must do your job according to how they want you to do it. And when you talk, they want to take you out.
Yeah.
If not physically,
You
politically,
abuse the office.
Of course.
So to do, act illegally, so to do in the office that they hold.
Right. And that is the problem we have. So this is why people like us, they need to take that, come together and create a solution. And the solution is working together. And it's the way the East-West corridor is created.
So are you saying then that the exercise in, let's say, this committee that was formed to look at constitutional reform, that really and truly will not cut the cloth, because it is about the people themselves coming together in order to treat with the problem, because that would have been a structure, a creature of those who want to stay in office.
Exactly, Len.
Okay.
Len, you have 15 months before election.
Right.
They have already indicated to us that they have some money to give to the army.
Yes, 100 million.
Okay.
Yes.
That money is going to touch the ground. When that money touch the ground, greed gone mad. Agreed?
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Because there has been so much deprivation.
Good.
But there's going to be fight over it as well.
Well, fight over it, but also political support. There's a questioning of the political support for them.
You're talking about wetting the ground.
Wetting the ground.
Wetting the ground.
Yes.
Whilst, of course, there may be some conflicts, but that is tolerable.
Yes.
Because the wetting the ground, the fertilization of the ground benefits, of course, those who have offered that overture, the 100 million.
And where you think that 100 million going to? Have until Caranage, throughout the East-West corridor. And here we go, still divided. My party fighting Diego Martin, your party fighting St. Joseph, somebody else party fighting in Tanapuna, and each of us taking votes from each other.
So this unity you're speaking of, because there's a process to achieve political, or should I say, governance.
Right.
All right. And so that, is it that there's, at least from what I'm gathering from you, that there are two levels of coming together. The people themselves in the masses, 1.5 million must come together, but you have a mechanism in order to topple or to displace this system, and that is, you have a party structure, a party system that says that if your party contests a particular election, there are rules and regulations. You can now be qualified. Without a ticket, you don't have a chance.
Right.
So you can now be qualified because you went through the system in order to get into parliament, so as to change the system. So are you saying then that the second level or tier of cooperation are those political entities that must now come together in order, of course, to rectify ultimately and defeat what is purported now to be government?
So we come in together,
yes,
and we discussing among ourselves what type of political, by the ballot, support we need to give to the party that we see is the better one in our view. Right? To win the election from the PNM. And what they're lacking is support within the East-West corridor. And since that is the case, then we do that. We come together, and of course, we will have negotiation with them. Look, we giving you our support A, B, and C, and what that. Not getting into the details. This is it. But the first conversation is among those of us who are not supporting the PNM. To come together and create a mass. I know that making sense to you.
No, I just wanted for clarity and to make certain that we are all on the same page. And so I thought I should make that interjection so that that clarity, that pellucidness is achieved. You did mention to me that on the 6th, which is I think tomorrow, the UNC is having another.
They were supposed to, but they'll have to get back to me to let me know when. Because the leader decided to postpone it. because they wanted to give the alderman more time.
More time to organize himself
Right.
in order to.
But the meeting definitely will happen.
Okay, the major party of which you speak, and let's face it, that is not even an elephant in the room. The fact is that everybody knows that is the UNC you're talking.
Yeah, and Kamala Prasad
and
not playing no games
as the
with that.
leader, right?
Right.
And therefore, all the other what I consider to be satellites that are lurking, but of course are incapable of meeting the standard to become this huge body, this huge giant, this huge monolithic that of course the UNC is. They must now of course be able to negotiate and add more to this monolithic, add more to this juggernaut in order of course to make certain that what is happening and purporting to be government does not continue.
We negotiating among ourselves.
So the satellites negotiate among
themselves. That is it. You sit down and you discuss.
Right, okay.
We go in a closed room, nobody know what we discussing.
Right.
And of course it might be heated. Lennox, where you think so and so and so. No. At the end of the day,
yes,
before we come out of that room, there must be a solution.
A solution, okay. Because the solution oriented, the fact of the matter is that some say the devil is in the details. The fact is that there could be no devil here. There must be, of course, the details known to all, so that agendas are easily snuffed out, smelt out, eliminated, and so what you have is a pure arrangement to now negotiate with, of course, that political monolithic called the UNC and Kamala Prasad.
Yes, so we sit down and we discuss and we say so, and then we say, okay, we approach them.
Right.
So we're talking about 15 months before the election. So I really talking about, for the most, 5.
Okay,
months.
Great. Good, yeah. You have a window of 5 months.
Of course.
To settle and to consolidate.
It's sensible men and women. You can't take 15 months to think because you have to prepare yourself.
Right.
So you come together and you say, this is what we want to do. And this is how we do it.
Right.
Rather than people ambitious as we are, you go and you say, okay, I fight in St. Joseph, UNC fights St. Joseph, another party fights St. Joseph. Guess who win in Lennox? PNM. Because we taking votes from each other.
Yes.
The last election in St. Joseph, how much did PNM win by? About 900 votes, right?
Yeah.
As sure is not 1,000.
Yes.
All right. So you win by 1,000. Right. And I know the UNC had a candidate there. I know you had another candidate there.
Yes.
So that means votes were split.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? And
when you look at both of them, the split contribution, if they were together, would have given, of course, the UNC the edge, or the opponents to the PNM, the edge.
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Practical one. In my area, you know where is my area,
yes.
right? Local election. The candidate who I manage, right? He was able to get close to 800 plus votes. The candidate that won, without calling him, he won by 1,075 votes. The other candidate, right? She got 350 votes.
That is not a PNM.
She's not a PNM.
It's part of the opposing forces to the PNM. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So she got 350. You know what I'm saying? Here my candidate got 800 something. And the other guy, he won by 1,000, about either 50 votes or 75 votes.
So it means that when you put both of the opposition together, at least it'll be, the gap would have been tremendously narrowed, or they could have secured victory.
Victory! Because most of the people who ain't vote for the PM.
Yes.
For nobody else.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So when they vote against them, that 350 votes is people, and some of them I know, not vote.
Not PM. Yeah. All right.
So this is the logic that I'm going on.
No, but well, it makes sense. Coming together is a formidable exercise, and I want to maybe emphasize what you're saying by recent development that occurred in the Parliament.
Right.
And then, of course, you'll give me your own assessment at the same time.
Right.
Rambali, the parliamentary representative for Shogunas West, raised to make a contribution to a debate in the Parliament. And the PNM side was thumping their desk profusely and vehemently, and I should say with a high degree of reverberation. That's it, how hard they tell me this. And I wondered why they were doing that. And then, of course, I saw participating in it, of course, was Imbert, the usually acting prime minister, and everybody else. I cannot confirm that Rowley was thumping his desk, but I will not be surprised if it is that all of them were doing that simultaneously, but almost spontaneously. And then I realized that the PNM do not give opposition spokespersons or opposition presenters any appreciation. Why? And then it dawned on me that because Rambali, represents a divisive element that would, of course, if given any credence, represent a reduction in the opposition. Because, of course, he is saying that the election should be called now, and that, of course, questioning the leadership of the present leader of the UNC, etc. And they were thumping their desk. I want you to speak to that because it's contrary to what you are advocating.
Right.
Because there should be within the organizations themselves that monolithic. There must be unity as well.
Yeah, but
Right.
yes, Rambali is one of them. I didn't want to call name Rambali, and you see the other four.
The other four. Yes.
The other four, yes, you're educated. Yes, you have a degree or degrees. You're just in making sense politically. Politically, in my opinion, you're irrelevant right now.
All right.
You're not making any sense. These guys, in my opinion, they are campaigners for the PNM.
Right.
I'm not going to stoop and say they're taking money, and I don't know, I'm not going to slander their character in that. Because he apparently is a money man, so he don't need no money. What he needs is political support.
Right.
He find himself in the same situation, right, where people criticizing him as a non-performer, as they were criticizing Gypsy.
Right.
He and his team was criticizing Gypsy in Mayaro. Rambali in Shogunas.
Yes.
Right. But the guy from Mayaro.
Oh, the Russian Parry.
Parry and they
Yeah.
were criticizing because he's in that
Gypsy.
side.
Gypsy. Yeah, because
And saying
Gypsy came from,
Right.
as far as his political bucket dropping is concerned,
Good.
he's a Mayaro man.
Mayaro man.
Yes.
And they were saying that he's not a non-performer, you don't treat the people well. What goes around comes around.
Right.
Now people accusing him of the same thing.
Right.
Except for the little clique that he has supporting him.
Right.
So now he find himself in that in that situation, and nobody told me, but I'm convinced that he and these others cannot go back there. So they know for a fact they're not going to get a seat.
Yes.
So they're playing the fool.
Right.
That's the reality. And what I want people to understand, you see, when you win government, right?
Yeah.
When you win government, you have a whole set of opportunities. So if Lennox Smith or Carly didn't get a seat, you have opportunities. Work with your bloody party. It have a lot of these guys in men and women. Ain't got no seat, but they're on board, chairman aboard here, some of them is senator, minister, this and that. Work with your party because you have one objective. You understand what I said? Go ahead.
But let me ask you something. The argument is that there's no they perceive that there will be no election. The argument is that suggesting that there is no election internally. And of course, there's some, I think, or indirect reference to the leadership of the party, Kamala Prasad Bisesa in particular. The party clearly has not responded by some awards ceremony. They have gone back, of course, into the default position of Monday night forums. They have, of course, initiated nominations. I don't think they have started screening yet. I would be surprised. But by any objective observer, I think that those arguments that the five advance are issues and irrelevant. I, for example, can see that I will be talking about an election and questioning the credibility of the term as to whether these elections will be held, but that are to come.
Because
why would you sound so silly? Why would you sound foolish? Why would you sound so ludicrous?
Lennox, when you look at all the arguments of the opposition from day one,
yes.
I mean, let's take it away from 81. Opposition, in my opinion, we are the ones that want to know. Because you come up with all kind of argument, people have so much ambition, and you keep on fighting among yourself, and you're making the PNM look so strong.
Yes.
The PNM is strong because we decide to be weak.
Yes.
Not we weak, we decide, we make a conscious decision to fight among ourselves. So therefore, because of that conscious decision we become weak.
Right.
And that is the problem with the opposition. So here they are. Listen, man, let me tell you something. As I told someone 2 days ago, this is my opinion.
Yeah.
2 persons I see could hold the opposition together, especially the UNC. Baze Pandey, who dead, and Kamla. Because people who close to them know how they're fighting among themselves. You need you had a strong man, oh God bless you with a strong woman. Hold it together. Kamla have a very strong woman's arm. All those who criticize her, you tell me, you would know better than me. How many people oppose any party and were defeated? How many times? Twice or more than that?
Twice.
More than that?
Twice in the main, but more than that generally.
Right.
Because there will always be those elements. So especially after the losing of the 2015 general elections.
They went up against us so much from
yes,
past.
Moruna and all of those were sitting MPs. And
even the one that we love very much, he's supporting her, but Munilan was the first one to go up again.
That's right.
So he was defeated. Then so many of them, and she defeated them. They cannot beat her. That is a reality. She has.
But worse yet, they have not proposed a replacement.
Because they have none. Lennox, they have none to hold the party together, take a sitting among the strength. People don't like the truth. I saying that I expect people to call me and cuss me, or you could say that. But that is a reality. They cannot defeat her. The only one to hold it together, which she is doing, I would not say a good job, a great, super great job. So eat your heart out. She's doing a super great job holding it together. Here you have election 15 months ago, maybe 13, and you want to start all this thing? I mean, give me a break. The reality is right now to consolidate, get the party together, organize, look, because okay, Pandey had a little, he was the only one who could have win, not even by himself, because remember, the NAR, I'll say we at the time, give him that 2 seats.
Yes.
That is a fact. Who want to argue that could argue that, but that is a fact. History, that is historical document there. Not so?
Yes.
Okay. Apart from that is it, you need opposition. You need to work with people in the East-West corridor. A lot of people don't like that. It have certain groups. I know I had a conversation with one, and I just remained calm, and I was just saying, how narrow mind. And he went off on a tangent. Supposed to be an intellectual, super, you know, how people like you, Lennox, I don't see him. All you know, bright and have a monopoly.
Well, I suppose you are speaking to an genuine pseudo-intellectuals.
Pseudo. Those pseudo ones. The real intellectuals like us come. You're not into that. The pseudo ones who feel that they, because number one, you're pseudo because you don't have a link with the people.
Yes, yes.
You're pseudo because when people come to your office, they annoy you. You're pseudo because when people false, when people criticize you, you take offense. So you're false. Real leaders like Pandey and Kamla, they will take criticism. A man tell me just last week, say, boy, I went in Pandey office and I start off on a man. He said, when Pandey finished with me in such a calm way and he started to take my shoulder and think, I started to eat out of the man, and he said, when I come outside him, but you know, damn fool. The man, he said the man talk with me so nice and sweet.
In spite of his,
Yeah.
he attempted to offload all of his venom.
No.
And nothing could have.
But he
affected
allowed him to offload the venom. And then he started to think. And eventually.
Yes, eventually.
Do me a favor. Get your mom's just here for a minute. Tell her send something, about something.
People, of course, we just getting some water inside here, make it hot. So
tell her not much,
so
but
you
I'll
would-
talk with her.
so as we said, from time to time, we will appear to be disruptive, if you want to call it that. The trend may be broken,
Yeah.
but we prefer it that way. We want to keep it real. All right, so we'll get a little water, and then of course we will continue.
Yeah, Lex. So the reality is you need leaders like that. And I'm saying
Right.
my observation at Kamla, she has that. She has that, and right now you need to hold it together and prepare for that election to come.
All right.
And you need to look at your strength, but you also need to look at your weakness.
All right.
And the weakness is you need to do something for the East-West corridor to pull it.
Right.
Because our next point I'm making is UNC have 19 seats. They're not losing that.
Right.
Right? So what we're going to do to strengthen that 19 seat, and you have to concentrate on the East-West corridor. You must concentrate on the East-West corridor. St. Joseph, Tanapuna. If you could come up with something strong for the East-West corridor, you're not only going to win St. Joseph, Tanapuna, you might pull off a Diego Martin. A guy was laughing at me the other day when I said that. But he ended up saying yes, because if you have something strong.
That's right. Yeah, and strong here is nestled, of course, in what we have experienced in the past.
Yes.
And know what is possible, even in between. I'm talking 1986, but even in between 1986 and now, there were some indications that Diego Martin can be a spawning ground for the opposition. Once you have the strength as you speak, as you speak of.
Listen, man, Len, that is a reality, because here what happened in 86, right?
Yeah.
In 86, and it happened in 2010. Seats that we were not expecting to win.
Right.
Because I can remember in 86, as a pretty young man, working in the St. Anne's West area.
Right.
Right? When they came to me and I told them, listen, our team is on the field and we go in and it's looking good to us. Right? Those people in the party, Herbie and them was saying, yeah, we know we stand a chance of winning, but this area we can't win it. The point I'm making is, when you have a good team and you are about to win an election,
Right.
two things happen. The seats, sometimes there are seats that you didn't expect to win that you pull off.
They pull off, yeah.
And when you are about to lose an election, seats that you don't expect to lose, you lose
You
them.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
So,
yeah.
but
So it works on either side depending
yes.
on the
So what you need,
situation at the time.
what you need to do is to put the whole thing together, and let's go for it.
Well, people, of course, as you would have realized that it's a bit hot in here. Yeah, it's a bit hot in here. I wanted to, of course, well, only yesterday, in fact, a young man came and he installed, of course, the air conditioning unit is in the back of us. The electricity, of course, requirement is 220. I thought it was 110, so I thought I could have used it this morning, but I can't. So we are waiting, of course, the electrician to come to beef up the electricity supply appropriate. Of course, there are wires and other things that are required before that happens. So pretty soon, the point I'm making that just as the elections, time and, of course, planning and then incremental improvement. And that you can determine by moving from a time when, of course, it was totally hot to when you are cool like cucumber, and of course continue. Something like the internet that we had sometime. I see some indications as to what we thought would have been in the past, but we will look at that as well because we have a new provider, and so far it has worked handsomely. I don't know what transpired this morning. If you were getting some blurred, that is the very blurred that we were trying to avoid consistently for almost 2 or 3 months. But we have been able to solve that by and large. But as you know, Murphy's Law, when you do expect something, it happens at the worst possible time. Dr. Khalid, we spoke of the need for unity. We spoke of course, internal unity as far as that mega institution is concerned, the UNC. So that's one level. And then, of course, those satellites, those outside that are parties in their own right, according to the system, must come together as well. And then, of course, you talk about a third level that may be more abstract and may not be readily should I say, visible to the ordinary person. But you have these satellites having come together, must now talk to the monolithic entity, the UNC, in order to work out an arrangement for electoral and, of course, the sharing of power, as the case may be, ultimately. Am I clear?
Correct.
Am I clear on that?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. You see, the thing is, right? I have been from day one an advocate for unity.
Unity, yes, I can confirm that.
Right, through the years.
Yes.
Since we were pretty young, I was talking that all the time. Trinidad, in my opinion,
let's go straight to the line. A pleasant good morning. Welcome to the Corridor Transformation. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, Lennox.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, morning. Two things.
Yes.
I would have asked you some weeks ago for you to do some investigation into the Prime Minister's travel to the United States to collect his honorary doctorate.
Yes.
Because there were accusations swirling that he would have used, it was purported that he would have used taxpayers' money. The allegations basically to travel there.
But that has been confirmed. So it's no longer an allegation. Right.
So that confirmed. Yeah. So how come that is not an issue? Why is the media, and you see, listen, when you consider how this country does work, the part of the problem why this country is the way that it is because the media houses and the media fraternity really has lost its way, and that is primarily because in many instances, the government would be funding them and paying them for ads. So they're not really doing the things that they need to do. I mean, that is a serious allegation.
Yes.
That is a serious allegation. The Prime Minister going to the states to collect an honorary doctorate is not a doctorate on the office of the Prime Minister. It is a doctorate on the Prime Minister, his person himself. And therefore, if that is the case, then he needed to spend his money and go and collect his doctorate, not taxpayers' money, right? That is one. The second thing deals with this whole talk of constitutional reform.
Yes.
Right? I think that is something that really is needed. However, the directions that the government want to go with it seems to be evading the most pointed issues and looking to address issues that is what I consider to be low offense issues. For instance, there are 3 areas that I think that should be really looked at in depthly. And if it is that those 3 areas are not addressed, I don't want to hear anything. And those are one, the office of the president. I think we have a choice with that to do 2 things. It is either we disband it totally and just have one prime minister or one president, or if we continue, that we change how the person is elected. That is one, they must be elected and not selected, as it's been bandied about, right? And they must have more power to be able to hold people to account. That is one.
Yes.
Second to that is the office of the Attorney General. That office needs to be removed from under the ambit of a political party. Because as we have seen recently, the Attorney General basically flouting regulations to ensure that the political party that they represent doesn't look bad or is not held to account. Right? So that is something that we really need to look at. That post of Attorney General is a critical post. And we need to look at that. And last but not least, the office of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, the Prime Minister's office, and I'm not talking about this Prime Minister, I'm talking about the office.
Yes.
Use too much power in Trinidad and Tobago. Because as it stands, when it is they are accused of doing wrong, nobody seems to be able to hold the person to account. There must be some mechanism built into that post where if it is deemed that the Prime Minister would have heard, that they can be held to account, by some mechanism, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Khalid, of course, you heard the caller. He was concerned about constitutional reform, but he started off by saying that a trip to the United States to receive an honorary doctorate, and he was concerned that taxpayers' monies would have been used to deal with what essentially is a private matter, because if he's getting a doctorate, it's not because he was prime minister, but because, of course, of his academic achievements in the past, and that would have been predating the prime ministerial position. And even if, of course, he got his doctorate, the current prime minister, talking about Rowley, whilst he was prime minister, that too should be seen as a private occasion, a private agenda. That's what he wants for him, but it has nothing to do with the country and the benefits. But I told him that yes, I told him that it was taxpayers' money that was used, but because he asked me something about looking. But more recently, at the opening of the library, of course, I consider to be that is redundant to that kind of brick and mortar facility, the size and the cost that was expended in the Martin unnecessary, and better you use the money to provide free internet access to all of the Martin. That would have been better, just to have regard, of course, to the efficaciousness of the devices and programs and the internet, of course, library plus, and anything you want to books wise, you can get it on the Bible you want to invest in physical thing. Of course, my understanding is from our own money, nobody really goes there what's going there anyway, because they won't get what they deal with. But I still want to say that the same professor on who's retirement probably last year of offering that doctorate that is usually referred to as honorary doctorate, is actually at the Martin and at the same guy that was given the highest national award in the country, the Trinity Cross, and it appears there's more reciprocation rather than really a genuine attempt to keep up the honorary degree. And I'm saying so from the perspective that I at that particular launch of the library, he offered $1 million, he and his wife, to of course any, I think, scholastic individuals who, based on the criteria that they were set up in order to, of course, benefit from that bursary. But I think what was more significant is that he was able to set up that, not just as reciprocity, but to make Dr. Rowley sanitized, for whatever better term. And of course, I'm talking from what I know of Dr. Rowley, to meet Biden, who has also been honored with an honorary doctorate at that university. So I'm seeing an excess, and I'm seeing, and it's not a conspiracy theory, because of course, after that, based on the comment of Biden, Rowley was able, of course, to get access for himself, because there were a number of issues surrounding him, in terms of his daughter and certain assets that he acquired in the United States. Dr. Rowley, of course, himself, and his role with respect to Delcy Rodriguez and the association, directly in or indirectly, or the context of child interests with respect to the in Venezuela, and that probably might have softened otherwise hardened stance on Trinidad and Tobago and this prime minister, because of his obvious bias towards, of course, Muderous, and there's ample proof to of course confirm that. I'm not going to the proof now, but quite a lot of proof to suggest that he is a pro-Muderous, and therefore his policies and programs indirectly, because he has strategically avoided speaking to the opposition in, of course, Venezuela. So I thought I should mention that, and of course we can will by saying that the constitutional reform should include, of course, the question of taking some of the powers of the prime minister, but then again have one prime minister, have one president, and I think, and caller from Tobago is concerned, I'm sure, about, of course, the fact that you can have a date for election in your pocket, rather than a fixed date. And of course, we call the question, we call your parliamentarians and so on, if they prove to be unworthy of course, being given that, what I consider to be a very honorary position in serving the people. But you make your comments. I've given you a spoon, and maybe not just a teaspoon, but pot spoon.
So, you guys say, Lennox, everything comes right back to what I have been saying earlier. We need to come together, because what it is that in order to do anything to the Constitution and make a change, you need to have a majority. You need to have
majority. And that's what I'm advocating for by 2025.
So the only way, because if you say you win like 22, 23 seats, the PNM will go in the opposition by then. They are not going to support you to change the Constitution, because you need to have any kind of constitutional change, you need a 2/3. Good? Where you don't have to depend on them. You go in there and you win 25%.
Yeah, like the NR and in partnership, but right. Still, for a better term, the opportunity.
And that's the right. So that's what you need to concentrate on right now. The way I say election. Pulling your team together, getting a strong enough team that you could win. And that's the reality. You know, instead of diverting, right now I don't want to. I have a vision right now. Pulling a team together, organizing, and you got to go. I didn't mention, you got to go. And the team have to be prepared to work with another business in order to give us that strength in this corridor. Because we don't know what's going on with Fali anyway. Hopefully,
you'll retain those 2 seats.
Yes, I think so. If they find a way to work out, as I said earlier on, problems in my opinion is themselves. Yes. We have bring them down and work out something. It could work. Yes. And in working out anything, like I said, people don't like the word I'm going to use, but you have to compromise. Compromise. You have to sit down and you have to work it out. Yes. This is why it is recommended. You sit in a closed room.
Yes.
You know, and your cost is
that was just so it doesn't mean that you will have success, because that was the intention of Rav Gonzalez when he invited, of course, both Guyana and Venezuela to the table in St. Vincent, and of course they came out of it with some kind of compromised position, except for the teething issue, which of course was deferred to go into Brazil, but of course in the end, you see, of course, certain bellicose stance and insistent that these people usually also to Venezuela. So it doesn't mean 100%. The point I'm making, but at least it's the beginning of something that is quite necessary.
And when you compromise, the thing is, you would always continue. That's not the end all. We go and we come up with a temporary solution. Okay, but we're moving forward. We're moving forward. We're not enemies. We're still talking. Rather than we go and say, no, you hold the point, I hold my point, and later I'm not answering your call, and you're not answering your call. That's the way out.
Well, but do you think that the present crop of parliamentarians on the opposition side, I think that was 35, that they have, I don't know if you know their background sufficiently to maybe do a clinical assessment, and therefore have an announcement that maybe tending to carve in stone. But we need to explore this, because why would they, for irrational reasons, not want to act up and to appear that there is some divisive nature that is within the UNC? But let's go to the lines. Pleasant good morning. Welcome to the Corridor Sunday edition.
Good morning, Mr. Smith and all the colleagues.
Good morning.
Wonderful, wonderful program. I just was getting a little sick now and then like the program. I just want to tell everybody bless morning and thanks to everybody that wish my son happy birthday. He enjoy himself and he have a little pool, you know.
That's Joshua.
And yes. And everybody that celebrated, I want to wish you a happy birthday as well. To my mommy in the States and all my other mummies, I want to wish you all a blessed day. And my friends, happy blessed day.
Maybe
Hold on.
maybe last 5 minutes, if you can reach time, we have him on air and we'll ask him some choice questions and he will express himself. If you're ready for that, we take the extra 5 minutes this morning. I just hear from Joshua as to what his answer. Yes, we just have about 4 minutes officially, but we started as well, so I know that we can compensate. I'm sure no one will mind. So if you can get ready and you spend 5 minutes with us on air, I will really appreciate.
No problem.
I said all his messages to everyone across the globe.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Yes, you are as well, and of course, Joshua, all the best. Yes.
Happy birthday, Joshua.
Right. So we have this country of individuals. I will tell you my view because I want that you know where I'm going with this. I believe that the writings of the world that they will not be returning. Charles has already indicated that I should probably if I want to return to something, but those are responsible for my returning. Saying listen, in conversation, I don't think you will be the best one to continue. Then when you're saying that I am so much years of age and is about time to retire, so I will not be returning. That is one way of responding. And the other way because they were told that they will not be returning, they will of course act up in a particular way to resist of course that inevitable decision. If not to be theirs, someone else has responsibility, just as in management and in business and so too is in politics. That's how I see it. People who were told that responsibility exists because they were being sidelined by action, by language and so on. And therefore, Camilla used to be talking to me every morning, but she no longer speaks. So on and so on. You see, I want to say that I got from action about people. She said that they were coming back from a trip abroad on a plane. At that time, that member of the opposition center, and she realized that he didn't talk at all. And normally, he would be very jovial and he would, of course, engage in conversation and so on. And she fully changed. But when she reached back, she was no longer innocent. So the very face is like, don't have any one situation. So, you like to get your consistency because the argument is about the argument about leadership. I think it's an argument that is she was, I think, it is more important than the person. But
you're correct. You know what I mean? This is why I am talking about those people who are in opposition to UNC.
Yes.
A lot of us are not well UNC members.
Right. Yeah.
Hold us. But we're not supporters of the PNM.
Right.
And when most of us make our political choice that we are not going to support the PNM for the management side.
Right.
So I'm saying that rather than sitting on the fence and be not on the look.
Right.
You understand?
Take the bull by the horn.
Yes. Take a conscious decision and show your political support behind that.
Right. Okay.
I prefer to say calm now right now rather than the UNC.
Right.
Because them guys busy fighting each other and I not it.
All right.
I know no set of fighting. You understand?
Right.
So that's the reality.
Okay. Right.
Once that can happen, then all your internal problems like these people go there and they become so ambitious and they want to able to do that. And then you need to have a group of people who should be able to sit down and solve problems. But
instead you will be leadership to say, listen, let me appease, let me allay your fears. You will be functioning in a different capacity, for example, maybe you could identify. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the recipient of that information because they want the IP and IP they must be and therefore does not eliminate the possibility that they are going to be disruptive.
And that is why I was saying earlier that when you are in government, being in opposition, you're limited. Right. When you're talking about when there's a whole scope of things there.
Yeah, I'm saying that the person want to be an MP as opposed to anything else.
Right, but you're narrow minded. And I like
it is a leadership to many of
people like you need to sit down and show them the possibility.
So you need to
yes, you need other people.
Because we have come to the end of the session, but we finish we have Joshua here with us. He will replace Dr. Khaled. He will take Dr. Khaled's seat in a moment, but before that, Dr. Khaled, you have parting words.
No, I just want to listen.
We will take this with Joshua.
Just not that.
To buy a pack of cigarette, just leave you with a hole in your wallet. is so hard to get in this country. Necessity or luxuries, it doesn't matter what the item is, they're charging anything they please. In this country, primary school books prices loot, is highway robbery, the price of food. Provide for your family today on your present salary is an impossibility in this country. So many bills to pay, there is no conceivable way to save for a